E3 show floor. I've managed to find my way into the Ubisoft booth, and we're going to be talking about Far Cry. I bumped into Alex, who's the creative director. Now I want to know, that trailer was mind-blowing, and Far Cry 3 did it as well. How do you guys even start? Like, who comes to you with that idea?
The cool thing about Far Cry is we can be a bit more outlandish, we can be a bit more, out there, so we're not a grey military shooter. So we have a lot of room. So really what we're looking for is something to get the player into the game as quickly as possible, as cleanly as possible, and try and shock them awake a little bit. So the idea was just to have a different kind of villain, someone who wasn't, threatening to kill you or murder your family, was instead trying to take you on a helicopter ride across some crazy country.
I say some crazy country. It kind of looks familiar. It's obviously set in reality, but you guys have created your own world.
Yeah, so that's it. That's one of the fun things is that we went to Nepal, or I didn't unfortunately, but some of the guys went to Nepal and the Himalayas and did a lot of research. And we're looking for a place that was exotic and different, something that had a lot of animals and a lot of diversity in the landscape. So we built a fictional sort of, extrapolation of all that research that we're calling Kyrat. Lots of mountains, lots of cliffs, lots of forests, lots of lakes. It's really, really gorgeous.
Can you give us any backstory on the character that we're playing as? Because the only real glimpse we got was that wonderful selfie.
Yeah, so it's tricky because we want you as much as possible to be that guy. We don't want to have you having to wade through a whole lot of backstory. So, but you play a guy called AJ Gale, who was born in Kyrat, so you're actually from there, who was raised in the States and is going back because when his mother passed away, she left a note in her will saying she'd like to be buried at Lakshmana. So the basic goal is to sneak yourself into a country that doesn't allow visitors because of your mother's last wish, and then obviously everything derails almost immediately.
So it's a very mountainous country that you guys have built purposely. That must change the skill set the character has to have and the equipment they're going to have. What's been different then?
Yeah, so it's cool because once you build different landscapes, you get the option to build different ways of solving those problems. So we have a grapple you probably saw where you can pull yourself up cliffs or swing between points. But the cool one, the one I like the most is the gyrocopter. So we have a tiny little helicopter which lets you sort of, survey the land from a completely different perspective.
Now, we saw a gyrocopter, we also saw that we could sneak into bases, which again was familiar for Far Cry, but there was also the pachyderm option, which was just get an elephant. Let's talk about how we're going to be using the animals and what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, so our game director, Pat Mette, was very keen early on to have weaponized animals. So yes, so take a pachyderm, let you climb atop it and ram through doors and things. So it's a lot of fun. But the other funny thing we see is that everyone doesn't want them to die. Everyone's very sad. But you can, if you weren't quite so fond of elephants, you could upgrade your skills, get sticky bombs, strap a C4 to the back of that elephant and send it into the outpost. That works as well.
Are we seeing the same thing like hunting animals and then crafting from there as well?
Yeah, it was something that worked really well in Far Cry 3. So obviously, when you're working within a franchise, you try to keep the elements that some people love and make them better and bigger and all that sort of stuff, and then find the new stuff. But yeah, crafting is back. Hunting is back. We've tried to ground it more in the narrative this time, but it's all hopefully bigger and better than ever.
Let's talk about that little drop mic moment that was had at the conference about co-op. Sweet. Your friend doesn't need to have Far Cry. How is that going to work?
Yeah, so for me, the inspiration was very much, when I was growing up playing Super Nintendo or my Amiga 500, I'd go around to someone's house and play your game for as long as you were willing to tolerate me in your bedroom, right? And so it's like, we've lost that kind of demo feeling, or at least trial feeling. So we're like, how can we get it back? And we realized that if we let you download just a client, then basically I, as the guy who bought the game, have a bunch of keys to Kyrat, which I can send to my friends, and you can play with me. As long as I'm playing, you can play as much of the open world as you want.
Is that a drop-in, drop-out co-op?
Yeah, so it's another interesting challenge because some people, very much like their immersive single-player experience, and I'm one of those people.
Me too.
But also, it's fun to have your buddy around and just goof around, right?
Yeah,
so we're like
by sticking C4 in elephants.
Strapping elephants with C4, charging around. But how do you, serve both these audiences? And I think we have a pretty clean solution, which is all the content, all the missions, all the story, all the outposts, towers, everything are available in single player. So you don't have to play co-op to see the content. But at any time, if your buddy's online, you can invite them in. And when they arrive, all the single player missions switch off, so they're safe. All those cutscenes that people always skip when they're playing in co-op, they're safe. But all of the outposts, the fortresses, the quests, the bell towers are there. So anything we do together is still within my single player game. And then when you go off on a hot date, I can go back to my single player game and complete the story.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's like the last day here and everyone's really tired, but that was incredible. Thank you so much. You guys can stay tuned to our YouTube channel because we've got loads more coming up from E3.